lower bracket. Never mind, they're out. Complexity going steadily better and better. They can't, you know, in order to get a better result than they did get at Valencia, they need to make the grand finals at this DreamHack. Let's see if they can make it happen. Nice save by Kurnovi early on. That was against Flakes as well.
Going to be starting off with a lot of pressure coming up from Complexity as they look to try and lock down the rotation, starting over in the orange side of the field. Flakes drops down and Magnus chooses better than to move forward. Oh, is one of those players that has been on top of the scene for so long now. One of the best rotational players that we've got around. Although AJ gonna go the entire lane for the pitch.
Oh.
And Isaacap might be 100% correct.
Wow, that's interesting. So not only have we got AJ air dribbling onto Flakes here, but Wonder as well, just in there, annoying Flakes. I don't think he got any contact by looks of things, but that's at least something else that Flakes has to think about when he's jumping up for the save.
Listen, Johnny, you have to try and save that one, okay? Getting names wrong is not to be new to me. Anyway, AJ starting off absolutely phenomenally in this one as AJ tries to get rid. Greasy holding that one up high, but Kurnovi taking his time. Question coming into this game is how much of Kurnovi's soul did he sell to get that win over Fairy Peak, over at Beyond the Summit?
That is a really good question. I mean, that's another matchup I'd love to see happen this weekend. Get Rogue versus Vitality at some point. No, whoever does lose this match are not out, of course. They're going to be straight into lower round 2 with a match against Afterthought. The winner of that will progress on. Oh my goodness, how is this not gone in? Magnus actually had a flip, but he's missed it. Beaten to the ball by Rogue, who somehow do not concede.
Oh, AJ, he's done the exact same thing! AJ is ripping Complexity in two!
Just look at his face as well in the bottom corner. He's just chilling out, no big deal. Flip reset for the finish. 2-0, both AJ. Solo straight down the middle.
And you brought up the point that Afterthought are waiting in the lower bracket. It's a match that Rogue would rather not have. They did lose to Afterthought in the closed qualifiers for this very event.
Yeah, Afterthought were coming in as one of the teams that we're all looking at, thinking they're going to be just making a steamroll run into day 2, but they've lost already to Lotus. I'm super excited about seeing on stream later today. First, we've got to get this one done. Complexity versus Rogue. So far, Rogue are looking great. I mean, it's just AJ. Just give him the ball. Let's see if he can do it again.
Try to go straight down the middle. AJ can just stuff that. A lot of challenges, not really going much of anywhere, but AJ's up on the wall, and I mean, it's time to hit the panic button if you are on Complexity, because he seems to be getting something every single time. Even if that one doesn't go on target, it just seems to be a get-out-of-jail-free card every single time Rogue are stuck on defense.
Yeah, he's just carrying the ball straight over the top, and he doesn't look vulnerable while he's doing it. There's always a chance that he could just 50-50 the ball, the worst-case scenario, and if that's your worst-case scenario, you're in a pretty good scenario.
The good news as well for the rest of Rogue is that, you know, air dribbles aren't exactly the quickest plays in the world. Gives you so much time to get your boost back up, get yourself into a good position. Sometimes it just doesn't matter what position or how much boost you've got because AJ's scoring anyway, but let's just say he doesn't score, you're still in a good spot.
You know, it's up until, I think, BTS, just last month, Beyond the Summit Rocket League, we didn't see Rogue, you know, beat any really, really big teams, but then, of course, they did beat Bricks. That's a nice bump. Kurnovi can't get the save, Flakes to the finish, and it was more interference ahead that created this one. Greasy with a run onto Crow. He's just flown over and prevented him from jumping. Kurnovi, I'm sure, would have loved to jump up a bit sooner for that.
As well, Flakes just delaying it a second. It's a typical sort of one that you'd like to lash out at immediately. Instead, puts it right behind the American. Now Kurnovi has seen Rogue's lead halved after that play. Now Magnus puts it up again. Greasy, he was thinking about it. Instead, decides to leave, and that is well positioned to try and keep that pressure going. But patient so far from Complexity. They've got time on the clock.
Nice interception by Crow. Greasy trying to snipe that shot underneath him. Rogue are on pretty low boost right now. They're not able to move off and attack this ball very quickly. Kurnovi just reaches it in time to prevent the shot. Wonder's done a good thing here. So just slowing down play ever so slightly to give his team more time to get involved. Flakes flip reset, it's dropped down, and somehow Greasy's put it wide. He really needs to be hitting the target there. Test the goalkeeper at the bare minimum. He's got another chance, and he will make up for the previous misplay.
Yeah, Rogue looked like they were just getting away with one So the poor touch to put into Greasy's path, but this one, however, cannot be saved. AJ always second best to that one, and now 2 AJ Wonder plays have been resorted to worth nothing.
And don't be confused with AJ Wonder play. You mean Wonder?
It's not as good as the Wonder Thunder combo. I do miss that.
No, not quite as good. Yeah, we didn't see any assists on, except maybe Kronovi running ahead and looking for a bump onto Flakes as AJ was air dribbling towards him. Apart from that, it was all AJ. And the Rogue haven't been able to create any other chances outside of those. It could be a problem. Complexity. Continue to dominate the territory. That's a double commit, though. It's not open thanks to Flakes. Approaching the final 30 seconds. Still all tied up. Now here comes Wonder. Double touch off the ceiling. Saved by Greasy.
It wasn't a flip reset. Can't score those, mate.
Yeah, need to be resetting flips on every takeoff, of course.
At least 2.
I don't know, have you ever seen a double flip reset goal in competitive Rocket League? I don't remember any myself.
We've seen one come, I do not remember the game, but we've seen one come very close.
Yeah, really, that's something I would love to.
So I don't care how much money is on the line, you just let it in, come on.
Who would it be if somebody's going to do that? Who would you have your money on? Filling out the double flip reset.
Don't go for the double flip reset.
Yeah, who's going to be the first person to do it? Who's in the short list?
It's never going to be anyone we expect, okay? So, Turbo. Turbo's
No
going to pull out
way.
the first one, and he's going to be the smuggest human being on the planet.
Turbo's been inspired by Farah's recent no air roll gameplay. I think he's unbound his own air roll button as well.
Wait, overtime over here in game number 1. And what could be a huge momentum swing, especially for Rogue. They have dropped their 2-goal lead. To go on to lose this would hurt so much. But Flakes and Greasy completely out of position. Kronovi goes for the bump, but Magnus, absolutely phenomenal to not only avoid the bump, but keeps it out of his own net.
Yeah, just one clean motion there. It might have been a better idea for AJ to slow down the dribble a bit because he arrived too soon, and that allowed Magnus to jump over the bump and make contact with the ball at the same time.
It's going to be AJ comes in over the top for the double! Saved at the last moment by Flakes.
Brilliant stuff on the goal line by Flakes. Really tense game 1. It's end to end all of a sudden after Complexity just dominated Rogue right into their own half for the majority of the game. Still no goals. It's best of 5 for the entirety of today. It's so important that you get off to a good start in a close matchup like this.
Especially as these OTs get longer and longer. We've heard players say before how great they are! Hat-trick hero AJ!
AJ just too fast, too powerful. Just dominates the 50-50 and he's right back into the play. Greasy couldn't get there in time, but that's not something you say every day.
Phenomenal start. The question now becomes, can you do that 2 more times, AJ?
I wonder if he can. That's what Sizz should be telling them right now. Just give the ball to AJ. Kronovi, Wonder, you've got one job here. Just pass the little man on the right-hand side of the stage to the ball and let him do his thing.
This is starting to sound alarmingly familiar. A little man pulling out big plays.
I mean, it works, especially right now. It's flavor of the month. Just you just line your players up in person and see who's, the smallest person in height, and then just give them the ball. Let them do things like this.
That is just absolutely ridiculous. What a way to introduce yourself to the series.
Greasy's got to make contact there. You have to say, you can't let the ball go right through you like that if you're Greasy in that position.
There was a few times, especially defensively, where it just seems like Complexity don't quite know where they want to be. And by the time they get in there, they're getting beat to the ball. It feels like the rotation needs to be a little bit more full, in a way, because they're being forced to scramble back, and by then, you've got to scramble back and then make your move towards the ball, and you're not in a good spot.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. So it's all about AJ right now. Now, if he does have an off game, because, you're referring to Chaussette there, making a parallel with the Wonder Kid, perhaps best player in the world at the moment, for reciprocity. I think I got that right. But he has off games. He carries some games. He's scored in incredible goals. In other games, he's not really doing too much. So let's see if AJ has a similar sort of effect for Rogue in this series, or can he just play an absolute blinder 3 games in a row?
Well, we already saw Kronovi go for a very similar play to start us off here. Have Rogue noticed a weakness in complexity, because they are coming out of those challenging air dribbles very well every single time. When you do it and you get the challenge on that goal line, all you have to do is win it. The ball does the rest of the work for you.
Indeed, Complexity continue to they dive in pretty high on most of their challenges, so mind games are working out for Rogue. There's another just straight away maneuver from Magnus. He's immediately up into the air and trying to get a block, and it's not going to work out. AJ collects the ball in the midfield, makes it 1-0 for Rogue again. It's just not good enough by Complexity. As they try and clear the ball, maybe a low boost play for Flakes there, because he was really lunging for that one, and you wouldn't expect that from a player who's so composed and so defensive with his own positioning for the most part.
Once again, they take to the air. Rogue have picked their spot right now to try and punish Complexity. And it's going to be up to Complexity to try and figure something out, although AJ makes his first mistake of the series, almost handing away a goal immediately to Complexity.
I don't think Magnus is ready for the miss to come right to him there. It's often the case in high-level Rocket League. Everybody's expecting hits on the ball. You never expect the clean whiff. The ball rolls through and you're just not prepared for it. Magnus opting not to hit that towards the back wall. Greasy one unable to make a touch on it. This is great for Rogue because they're not really receiving too much pressure from Complexity. Yes, the ball's in their half, but they're able to handle every single shot fairly easily.
When you get into these sort of games where I'd say it for me at the very least, I'm not going to speak to you here, but it looks like Complexity are underperforming in a way that, you know, you start to look towards some of those off-season troubles, although that's going to be slide right down the middle by Magnus. You know, you sort of wonder if Complexity are going to be able to hold it together throughout this.
Yeah, it looks like Rogue's defensive rotation was not really in time there. The two players heading back at the same moment, just different sides of the field, neither one of them quick enough. That's a lapse of concentration for Rogue. Complexity will punish. Missed a couple of open nets this series, so
I don't know what this is right now.
Important that they got that one.
Kronovi comes in for the challenge. He's far too late. Wonder scooping it over to the far side of the field. Complexity did hold on to quite a decent amount of offensive pressure last time, but weren't able to do anything against these stabbing attacks from Rogue. Once again, Flakes is his third dribble of the game. Gets a decent amount of distance on it. At least he's moved his team to the other side of the field. As Kronovi takes all the time in the world, does not get the flick he was after. Invites plenty of space for Greasy. Doesn't get the double tap. Will not matter. Magnus has got his second.
Yeah, good pressure here by Greasy Meister. Despite following that touch, or making it look like he's going to follow that initial touch, he causes Kronovi to hesitate on the back wall. And then when Kronovi's got two things to think about, is Greasy going to hit that again? Is he going to get the double? Is he going to miss that? Does he even have boost? You know, that's making it much harder for him to play correctly and to position himself effectively. 2-1-2 Complexity. I was impressed though at what I saw with the way Rogue shut down Flake's previous dribble. They didn't send their third man for a lunging challenge. They instead just ball chase with their recovering player. Get the pressure from behind. That's a much safer way to shut down a player like Flakes, who's so known for his ground plays.
Flakes, when he does go for those dribbles, he wants to try and bait Rogue to want to continue their own offensive rotation. As soon as you do that, you get someone to dive in. That's an easy way past, and usually you've got enough time to maintain the dribble past another player. Right now, Rogue, you know, they're not sending the players who are already back towards them. There's plenty of bumps going on here. AJ looking for the setup. Still waiting for anybody on Rogue to really get there.
They're all on the wrong side of the ball for a moment there. Nobody able to get the shot into the Complexity goal line. Nice little recovery there by AJ, jumping well upside down, just get down faster. Great pass, Greasy with a pre-jump save. Complexity hanging on to their 1-goal lead.
Now Greasy to the corner. Kronovi does get the boost. That's going to limit Greasy's offense. This time a much better flick up. Kronovi has passed two.
Couldn't quite land on the ceiling though. Wanted that recovery for the quicker route back to the ball. Still a minute left for Rogue to try and make something happen, and they are advancing in numbers.
It's been all down to Magnus' defensive positioning so far. He has been ready to cut out every single play, but can he do anything about this one? Yes, he can, as there were players starting to fly towards him. 40 seconds on the clock. Rogue still after another.
Nice dunk by AJ. Nothing really coming off it though. At least not yet. Wonder trying to flip onto the ball and get it under control, but Complexity, they absolutely blast it clear thanks to Greasy. You can always count on him for that.
Lovely clear from Greasy. Over to the corner. That's actually not going to be followed up on. There was a player there a second ago, but Complexity prioritizing the defensive rotation. AJ, he's out of boost. Kronovi's touch will not be at all threatening as we head into the final few seconds. One to the corner. Greasy once again wins the challenge. And Complexity going to do this. They're going to go and defend this last move. They will do it. One each.
A little bit interesting at the end there as Flakes catches the ball, keeps it up on 0 seconds, but they put it into the ground fairly safely. And in the end, it was a fairly comfortable win for Complexity. They didn't have too many scary situations at the end of that one. Rogue still trying to figure out their full team offensive plays. You know, apart from the AJ domination in game one, been pretty quiet from them.
Yeah,
for the most part. It's not good. You want to see more from Kronovi. He had a great tournament at Beyond the Summit just a month ago. So far, he's not done too much against Complexity.
One thing I do really want to compliment Complexity for in this game is just how much more patient they were when it came to building up that offense. Because last game, it sort of, they wanted goals and they wanted them immediately, and that's what left them available to being air dribbled on. But this time around, it was a much slower pace. Rogue weren't willing or able, whichever one it was, to go and challenge the midfield, and they recognized that, took control of 2 mid boosts, and just slowly picked apart until they had a space to shoot into.
Coach Sizz not happy with the performance in the last game, no doubt. So what's interesting here, Sizz is taking the standing option, Snasky. Much more lazy, he's just sitting down.
I don't know how any coach could ever sit down.
He's looking right into the back of Magnus's chair. I think you got a pretty good view there of all the monitors, Snasky. You can see him in every single player camera there. Just look at that, and the Magnus guy, he's sneaking his view round the back to keep an eye on it. Oh, that's 1-0. Wonder gets in the score sheet. Might be more boost problems in defense for Flakes, because yeah, he was waiting on the 100 pad. I don't think it spawned. Let's look at it. He tries to get across, wasn't able to get there in time. Punished for waiting on that 100, hoping it would spawn.
It's one of those situations. There's no danger until there is.
Well said.
Flying past it.
No goals until they score.
Drops it down. That's going to be 2. No, what? It's not. Greasy Meister with a miraculous save.
How has he managed to keep this ball out of the net? A couple of phenomenal saves by Greasy this series already. I think Greasy's going to slow down the play. Wants to give everybody in his team a little bit of time to spread out because they're all stuck in one spot there. Flakes with a whiff. That's 2-0. Kronovi just puts it underneath the bar. But what's going on in defense for Flakes this game? Not even close to making contact. He's obviously aware that Rogue are going to be up pretty quick and he has to match their speed with some of his own, but you want to hit the ball. That would help.
An abysmal start to game 3 for Complexity.
As their star player as well, he's usually so solid. One of the best defensive players in the game. Absolutely world-renowned for his goalkeeping and positioning, but you'll want to forget about this game pretty quickly. That's a lot better from Complexity though. Greasy and Magnus combine for a goal.
But once again, this has been a consistent problem for Rogue throughout this series. Yes, Complexity have had their own issues, but Rogue, a lot of their clears and a lot of their saves seem to either go towards the midfield or just sort of dribble around their box area. They're not pushing it to the corner. They're not able to get secondary touches a lot of the time. Although Wonder underneath! And who needs to be able to defend to the corner when you can just keep on scoring?
Where on earth is the defense for Complexity? It's Flakes creeping up a bit too far right behind Greasy. I don't know, was he just rotating back from the kickoff perhaps? But really well done by Wonder to land on that ball. He was in a bit of space, but he still had to shoot with that touch or there would have been a defender coming in to clear it. 3-1 to Rogue. It's the better kickoff by looks of things. They had more coverage. They were more prepared for that particular bounce.
Magnus to the corner. Couldn't quite get his second touch, but that makes it kind of awkward for AJ. We're only played 1.5 minutes here. It feels like it's been much longer. Magnus tries to keep the pressure going. Here's Flakes. Pops it up. That was way too heavy of a first touch. Gives Kronovi ample time.
The fact that he's hit that ball forward or chipped it forward so slowly makes me think he was going for a flip reset setup. If he was trying to rebound, I'm sure the first touch would have been a lot harder. Wonder's got his dodge. He uses it for the 50-50. Really showing up in game 3, Wonder. I mean, that's the player that Gibbs was talking about on the desk before this. He didn't expect Wonder to have much of an impact. In fact, he's had a really, really important role, especially in this game 3.
Flakes, nice pop actually. That's going to give it over to Greasy. Wonder is way secondary to that. Does offer enough of a target that Greasy was forced to play it around him. Somewhat risky play to the middle. Flakes again goes for the dribble. I think that might be in a well that's been gone to a little bit too often here. Rogue, who haven't been often challenging in the midfield, and now starting to get more and more comfortable doing so.
It wasn't a terrible position for the dribble, but Rogue have been handling Flake's dribbles pretty well. So, I mean, Flakes, of course, he's still confident in his own ability to score goals by himself, create pressure by himself. But Rogue haven't really looked weak against that kind of play. How on earth has this not gone in for Rogue? It's still off the post. It's open for Kronovi, and eventually they score. That was just shot after shot. I wonder how many they actually got credited for there by the in-game scoreboard.
Crow, if you hit the crossbar there.
That would have been hilarious.
That would have been amazing.
The bar comes into the ground and then bounces right up next to the wall where you can't score it.
Well, it'll start to get into one of those situations, and we've all seen them, where you're just like, why would I even attack this right now? It's not, there is some sort of cosmic force that is going to make sure that this does not go in. Flakes. Did he get the flip reset? I don't think he quite did.
It's like his touch was too heavy. He may have jumped off the ball while looking for a flip reset. Need to delay a little bit longer before dodging. Yeah, it's been an off game for Flakes, certainly. And there have been question marks about complexity due to the Flakes. You know, maybe let's change this roster situation that never ended up happening. You know, personally, I'm glad to see these three sticking together. I think that they have still got a lot more to go. Oh my, AJ with a double touch off his own post to frustrate complexity even more. Yeah, this could be a rough tournament for complexity if they don't get a win in this series.
Gonna drop over to Magnus. They've just got over a minute here. They need to get some sort of momentum on their side. Otherwise, this is going to be a match point for Rogue.
When looking back to all the goals the complexity have conceded, a lot of them have been preventable.
An awful lot of them. I mean, we've got 2 defensive mistakes from Flakes. We've got... Oh my goodness! No. Wonder
why. It was a slower pitch shot, of course, but still. Good accuracy by Greasy. I like that setup that he's gone for. It was so obvious, though. It was a bit slow, so everybody knew it was coming.
It's kind of hard to mask one of those sort of plays where you're going for the pinch, because there's not much else you can go for.
These setups, I've seen a couple of really obvious pinch shot setups, like the one that we just saw from Greasy. But then instead of pinching the ball, just don't pinch it. Just continue dribbling it, because when people see you setting up a pinch shot, they tend to just send their entire team running towards their goal, thinking of the worst possible scenario where the ball flies off at 150 miles an hour towards the net. So you can use it just to relieve some pressure with a pinch shot mind game.
That's got way more power than I think anybody on the field expected, but Rogue do take it. They're up to match point. If they get this next one, then they will be moving on to day 2.
Should be huge for Rogue. The seeding is important for day 1 matchups at DreamHack, and day 2 as well. If you lose at all, you're allowed to lose once. This is double elimination, of course, so you're allowed to get 1 loss and still progress. But if you do lose and then progress with that 1 loss on record, you will likely have a harder matchup on the following day. So this is really big. If Rogue go in as a first seed, I mean, the other first seeds so far from Group A and B, NRG, Team Reciprocity. Almost got it wrong there.
We better hope we don't cast them this weekend.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to make a deep run, so I'd be surprised if we don't cast them.
I'm going to be staring into the mirror tonight, just constantly repeating it about 1,000 times.
Yeah, you're in a good bunch there. NRG and Team Reciprocity, both grand finalists of the last 2 Rocket League majors. They're qualifying as first seeds. Now, if you qualify as a second seed, you're more likely to run into one of those guys. in tomorrow, in the games tomorrow. That's not what you want. You really don't want to have to play NRG or Team Reciprocity in your first game on day 2.
Not only that, but we've got an afterthought waiting. And that is a team that is can be very much a giant killer.
A scary team, yeah. So afterthought already in the lower bracket. They lost to Lotus, our South American participants, who we're going to be seeing on stream, I believe, 5th match of the day, this being the 3rd. Yeah, I expected Afterthought to win that match against Lotus, actually. I was really surprised with how well Lotus were able to play. South America continually showing us again and again that they are really a LAN region. Show up and they're playing completely fearlessly against the best teams in the world.
Well, their only problem that they ran into is that there were teams that they took on at the World Championships that knew how to deal with that style of gameplay. But when you do come to these, the level is no longer the top 4 teams from either region. It's a little bit more varied, and Lotus were able to take advantage of that and smother their opponents.
Yes, but I wouldn't be too, you know, if you're an Afterthought fan, the Shock Stathi First Killer roster definitely showing a lot of promise online. If you are a fan of them, they'll be playing the winner of this to qualify for day 2, the winner of this series. And I wouldn't count them out. You know, that loss against Lotus, although it was a 3-0, I think that they can still bounce back from that. They've already had a lower bracket sweeping win against Cultivate Gaming, eliminating Cultivate from the tournament. So could be and should be a tough match for the loser of Complexity Rogue, making it all the more important that you get the win in this series.
Speaking of this series, we haven't had in goals just yet, a minute and a half in. Not complaining or anything, but I am going to say we did have 4 at this point during the last game.
And we were spoiled.
I feel like my expectations have been sort of taken too high for goals, and I need this game to sort of bring me back into the balance.
Yeah, they've conditioned you to expect multiple goals, and now they're just not delivering. It's just disappointing.
It just is.
We want goals. Like, just missed the ball, Grease. No, he's just hit the ball. He saved it. Whatever. All right, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer for a goal. I'm sure we'll get one at some point. That is the good thing about Rocket League. Never a 0-0. You don't get 0-0 draws.
There's nothing worse.
Imagine watching a game for 90 minutes and then it's just a 0-0 draw.
A B.
And you go off home.
Yeah.
Not even one goal to witness.
Yeah, you've been traveling for 6 hours just to go and watch the away. I think we've both got some hidden venting we've got here.
Just another reason to watch Rocket League. But Rogue just need a 1 goal potentially to advance to day 2, and what a huge win that would be. Out of Rogue and Complexity, I would say I'm more worried about Complexity going down into losers. Although Rogue did lose to Afterthought in the NA qualifier for this very tournament, the fact that this is a LAN, I would give Rogue the advantage in that matchup. Heavily.
Legitimately, I would feel afraid for both of these teams.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would feel afraid for both of them. But I feel more afraid for Complexity, given their current, you know, situation with the roster change that didn't end up happening. It's always a little bit awkward when things like that go down.
Yeah, you typically want to restart again with a lot of momentum. Pranovi for a block. It's going to go as far as Flakes, who tries to keep the pressure going. AJ now to the corner. He's unchallenged for the longest time, but nobody's around to put this one on target. And instead, Magnus couldn't get it past Pranovi. Another good block from him. Pranovi doing a very good job of trying to stave off pressure and get his team back into the right positions. Minute and a half. Complexity need this win. And it might not happen. Pranovi just saved AJ's shot.
Oh my goodness. And you know, I don't think it was going to cross the line anytime soon, but he's still a little bit unfortunate to land in the way of that one. Rogue are looking more dominant at the moment though. Complexity look nervous. That's another good save by Greasy, who continues to get some really big stops on the goal line for Complexity.
AJ pushes it downfield, only as far as Flakes, who almost had the ball land on him. And now we switch sides. Complexity are the team with all of the momentum. They're the one with the offensive strategy. And what a pinch that is to try and get rid of it.
Look how deep Complexity are sitting, though. They really do not want to concede. That is their main objective at the moment, it would seem. And Rogue are not making any mistakes in the midfield. No double commits coming in, and that's going to make it very difficult for Complexity to score on the counter-attack.
That's a lot of space, though. Shot off the post. Nobody from Rogue thought that was going in. Very brave from them. It's another pop-up. Greasy tries to pull his team in. They've won another challenge. Wonder to the corner. As far as Flakes, though, they need to try and get this soon, because that shot's going to go on target, and AJ can just kind of push it away, but Rogue have looked susceptible in this very position, and they're going to be happy to see that one go away.
Yeah, they just had no boost there. All three members moving around slowly, weren't able to get a big clear. Now they've found one. Boost is back under their control. AJ stops it on the goal line. The entirety of Complexity is there to make sure it doesn't cross the line. Overtime is just moments away. There it is. One goal separates Rogue from day two. Complexity need to score to stay in the upper bracket.
Like we said, this is a potential statement. Kronovi caught that at a very weird angle. I think he was like as at the bottom of that ball as he possibly could have been.
That's what I was going to say. He's right underneath it. Not where you want to be. If you want to get a flick onto it. The wonder's missed. It's Greasy moving forward. And he's put it a bit high and also wide. I don't think he was expecting that ball to bounce out to him past multiple players. Rogue might have a little bit of an issue here. See everybody driving around looking for small boost pads. Let's see if they can break out of their half again. Look how deep Complexity are sitting though. They're really not trying to box in Rogue at all. They're just waiting for their turn to hit the ball and then attacking one time and then going back to their half again.
Yeah, it's a sign of a team that aren't quite used to the high pressure just yet. AJ tries to find Wonder, taps it on, that's going to drop down awkwardly! And AJ will finish it off! Rogue are heading to day two.
And they have been the better team today, there's no question about that. Flakes dominated on the goal line by AJ. And that actually sums up this series.